Hi there, welcome back to Elaine's Corner. This is the channel where we talk about all things metaphysicals, and how to find your purpose, how to navigate your birth chart to help you figure out your purpose and things of that nature. Before we start, please click on that subscribe button and the like button if you're interested in this topic and if you would like to know more about when I'm releasing my next video. So without further ado, let's get to it. So in this episode, I will be talking about Neptune in the sign. So if anyone knows anything about astrology out there, which I'm assuming if you're following my channel, you would know that Neptune is the planet of illusions. It is it's a body, it's a planet out there. It's fairly recent addition to astrology, and in my opinion, it is quite something to look at for purpose. And I know with traditional astrology, we're taught to look at things such as like your 10th house for career, looking maybe at Saturn maybe to find out where exactly our purpose and career, what we are meant to champion in this lifetime is. But my theory, and this is something I've been reading a lot about, there's an author named Maurice Fernandez, and if you're interested, check out his book, Neptune, 12th house, and Pisces, or Neptune, 12th house, Pisces and 12th house, and it talks a lot about how Neptune really is a very important planet when it comes to our life purpose, and when it comes to public service, when it comes to our human soul providing a purpose in this lifetime. It's quite fascinating. I would definitely read the book if I were you. Highly recommend it. A little bit hard to read in some parts, but I get the general gist. It really does emphasize the fact that Neptune is very important, which is funny because a lot of astrology doesn't go into Neptune as much. It's kind of traditionally it's seen as the house of undoing, the house of kind of like where things are very nebulous, the house of spirituality, imagination. These are just like some of the themes, which to me never really kind of stuck well with, because how can one house represent like all of spirituality? It doesn't make any sense to me. But that's what it is. And if you go into any literature, you will hear how the 12th house is very dark. It's the lonely house. Neptune is like, it's just like the planet that dissolves everything, which is true in the chart. It really is kind of like that blind spot where people are kind of not 100% sure, or maybe like they project excess importance on the value of that house. But there's a lot of like unknown uncertainty in wherever the planet falls in your chart. So I get it, but the emphasis on purpose, ultimate why we're here, is never really discussed in many places. And not until I found this book is when I actually kind of started digging deeper, and like now I'm sold. It, like when you look at that archetype of Neptune, Pisces, and 12th house, and you look at your chart and you see where it is, it can really tell you a lot about where you put excess importance and attention in your life. So I guess we can go through the Neptune in the houses, but every now and then I might just kind of jump out and like bring out ideas of people that I've seen, some charts that I've read, and yeah, let's get to it. All right, so Neptune in the first house. When I think Neptune in the first house, I think, what is the first house? First house is your identity. It is your natural impulse. That's how you perceived. I remember reading this once, and it was a great analogy for me. If you're in a cocktail party and amongst a bunch of strangers, what would be your natural reaction? That's your first house. So it's like your first impression, your first instinct, your first natural. Yes. So Neptune in your first house would make you very nebulous, like very like kind of hard to place in the first house. And that can be when the planet is covering any sign. So it can be Neptune in Sagittarius, in Capricorn, Aquarius. Neptune in the first house will make your identity, your natural impression very flowy and very hard to place. What does this mean? So first house is your actions, how you move forward. It's a very Aries, action-oriented house. So making decisions and actions are very fluid and kind of just nebulous, and usually based on you take actions based on very nebulous concepts. So I know this because I have a Neptune in Capricorn in the first house, and it really just does kind of muddle a lot of my actions, especially in my earlier years in life. Actions are kind of based on the collective. What is everyone else doing? What is the collective doing? Things of that nature. So again, it dissolves confidence. Aries is a sign of confidence. Also, constantly discovering, constantly looking for something, constantly searching for something. So in the first house, it's a very hard place for Neptune. But we do find astrologers with this sign, a lot of psychics, a lot of people who are already in tune with like the other side and 12th house type topics. Hence me starting a channel in this topic. Awesome. All right, so let's go with Neptune in the second. So what is the second house? Second house is your values. Second house is resources. Second house is money. Second house also involves self-worth, self-value, at least in Western astrology. And so when Neptune is in this house, it might not be so great for your wealth, resources. You may have troubles charging for your services, and not the greatest place. You may not be so good with your money. You may have inflated ideas and visions of spending money, making money. Not the most ideal place for Neptune, but this is what it is. You're having a lot of illusions. Neptune is also the sign of illusions, so you can have a lot of illusions about making money, illusions about how much money you have, how much money you think you can make, or how much you can accumulate. So things of that nature. All right, Neptune in the third house. The third house is all about communication, siblings. Big one is communication, siblings, short-term travels. What are other things with third house? It's essentially like early learning, youthful learning, your beginning learning stages, curiosity, discovery, but learning on a short-term basis. So it's characterized by Gemini. Gemini is this kind of flighty, short attention span kind of sign, so third house has a lot of that energy. Neptune in the third will make your communications also equally very nebulous and like very Pisces, almost similar to Mercury in Pisces, if that's similar to if you had Mercury in Pisces in your chart. So this would create a lot of like vagueness, illusions about your siblings, vagueness, illusions about your communications. People are not 100% sure what you're trying to say. And then, of course, aspects also impact this as well. In terms of your purpose, bringing this back, Neptune in third would tell us that maybe you're meant to be in service. In terms of speech, there's something that a message you're supposed to impart in service to the world. So let me just backtrack. In the second house, Neptune there, some of your purposes might include teaching people about money, maybe learning a lot about money, perhaps resources, being an authority of money because you've not been the best with it. So again, let me just preface by saying we will be looking at Neptune as well as where your placement of Pisces is and what sign is in your 12th house. But for now, I'm just going to go through the houses. So that's the third house, Neptune in third house. Communication is a big thing. You will be providing service through your communications. Neptune in the fourth house. So what is the fourth house? Fourth house is all about your home, your values, home values, your mother. So Neptune in the fourth, it's in a nutshell, you can't find your mother. You have illusions about your home, illusions about your relationship to your mother, illusions about real estate, home, ideas of home, and things like this. Having a family, a lot of confusion, illusions, and distortions about that house. However, this could also be maybe where you put excess importance. You probably put a lot of time and attention towards your home, family life, and themes in that area. And perhaps maybe you should look into service, maybe around the home, maybe a real estate agent, maybe something to do, maybe real estate agent, yeah, service over providing service to help people buy homes, get homes, furnish homes, things of that nature. You have a strong inclination for things around the house. You're probably a very homebody usually, but you have a very strong sense of love and attention put towards your home. Okay, so if you say fifth house, Neptune in fifth, what is the fifth house? Fifth house is all about romance, that first initial spark of love, children. What else is that? Fifth house is joy. What gives you joy? What sparks you happiness? So Neptune in fifth, it's usually fifth house. Again, also see like very iconic. I see celebrities. I see people who like seeing Leo type themes. Want to be in the spotlight. Things that create joy and happiness and things like that. So Neptune in the fifth. Someone who has a strong Neptune in the fifth would have high illusions about relationships. Perhaps they've just never really could grasp, that initial romance. Maybe they're serial romance, serial dater, serial initial dater. They have illusions about love. Perhaps a Disney type individual who expects everything to be chivalrous and their partner to just kind of always have things for them and do things for them and have strong ideals about love, for sure. In terms of their purpose, this can be seen as perhaps someone who can give service in an iconic way. Maybe they'll be on stage. They have illusions or excess importance when it comes to being on stage, excess importance about being seen, excess importance and illusions about being in the spotlight. Perhaps also excess importance about having children. They have a strong inclination and love to have multiple children. Again, of course, you also look at other aspects, but just Neptune in the fifth, I would automatically assume that there's a strong inclination for someone to have a strong sense of attention to these themes in their lifetime. Romance, children, joy, always in constant state of being joyful. A lot of their actions are usually fueled by, enjoying, like they might not take tasks if they're not enjoying it. Like very Leonine type themes in where they put excess importance and attention. Okay, so moving on to the sixth house. Sixth house to me encapsulates self-improvement, health is a big theme for the sixth house. Everyday work, the bustle and hustle, your everyday work, kind of like the things, your routines, things that keep you going on a daily basis. So Neptune is six. Maybe someone has ideals of the perfect routine. Someone probably has an ideal of what to do every single day, how they really value self-development, self-improvement. Maybe they care about their figure, care about their self-image a lot. Perhaps they go to the gym, they diet, they have all these regimens. So someone who has Neptune in this house may idealize these themes and may want to pursue a line of service or purpose align those lines. So maybe become a health coach, or perhaps a fitness coach, or someone who helps others in these themes, like a self-development coach, life coach, someone who helps people with their routines, someone who helps people, stay organized. What are some other sixth house? Someone who helps people find careers, but not so much careers, but more someone who helps people on their day-to-day routines. That's probably the first thing I think of sixth house. Work, but everyday, day-to-day work. So it could be daily routines, daily upkeeping, housekeeping. I don't want to say menial work, but things of that nature. So yeah, someone under Neptune or a lot of Pisces in this house, this could be a theme that you are looking at in your chart, and that could help you in deciphering what to do in this lifetime. Of course, if you need more guidance, feel free to book a session with myself. I do provide coaching services in these themes. So I'll mention that towards the end of this video, where you can sign up to have a one-on-one coaching consultation with me. All right, let's move on to house number 7. Seventh house is quite awesome in the sense that it is kind of like typically known for relationships. What else is 7th house? Legal issues sometimes. It can be all things type Libra, consultation, counseling, giving advice, dealing with other people. 7th is other people, dealing with other people. So if you have Neptune in 7th, maybe you have illusions about relationships, illusions about your marriage, your future marriage, your spouse. You probably put excess importance in dating, courting, things that may get you a future partner, relating with others, being extra diplomatic, being extra, what's the word, Libranian type things, being extra accommodating. Perhaps maybe you put a lot of emphasis in these themes. So someone who has a Neptune in 7th would most likely put a lot of attention in how they look, how they present themselves to other people. Perhaps they can be of service, helping others in these themes. If you get where I drift here, they could be perhaps a stylist or someone who helps others look more presentable to the public, more presentable to spouses, someone maybe who helps with etiquette, and things of that nature. Yeah, definitely Neptune in 7th, or Pisces in the 7th, or 12th house with Libra would have these kind of themes in their chart. So this is where I would look if these themes are in your chart. You definitely love the space. Themes about relationships, dating, maybe a relationship coach, just the top of my head, right? Helping people, being in service in these themes. Okay, so now we have Neptune in the 8th house. What is 8th house? 8th house involves debt, things that are very Scorpion, death, transformation, uprooting of the truth. So Neptune in the 8th, this person is super intuitive, just naturally has a very like guttural sense of intuition. They put high importance in maybe sex and like sexual issues, death, rebirth, very dark, deep subjects. So Neptune 8th person, because 8th house is it's very secretive sign, so perhaps they might not even reveal that they have a lot of secrets and value things that are secretive. But if I were to give consult to someone who has Neptune 8th, I would tell them look towards where also Pluto is in your chart. But at the same time, I would also tell them where is Pisces and what's in your 12th house to get a little bit more clarity. Because this house is it's a lot about secrets and things are just very smoke and mirrors. So it's not as clear as some of the other houses. But so someone with Neptune in the 8th, definitely things that have 8th house topics. They probably put excess importance in secretive things. So someone maybe who wants to go into secret service, someone who's really into like discovering the truth, unearthing what the true is in their lives, other people's lives. So someone being in service in dark, not say dark things, maybe occult, maybe they're very interested in astrology, maybe they're also very interested in just different types of occult science, things that are hidden, and they can provide a service in these themes. All right, now Neptune in the 9th house. What is the 9th house? 9th house is all about higher learning, not so much spirituality, but higher learning, religion, philosophy, publishing is also ruled by 9th house. 9th house travel, long distance travel. So in these themes, someone with a Neptune in 9th may glamorize long distance travel, may give high importance on seeing the world. So someone who can provide service in these themes would definitely be closer to their life's purpose. So I would tell someone to just explore ideas of maybe being a travel agent, giving service in travel, giving service in higher learning, perhaps teaching, giving service in higher topics, like so becoming a teacher of some sort, becoming a teacher of any of these topics, spirituality, philosophy, higher knowledge. Maybe they have a PhD in some topic, in subject, economics. It could be Jupiterian type topics, so they can provide a service, become a coach or teacher in these subjects. Okay, now we move on to the 10th house. 10th house is ruled by Capricorn and Saturnian type things. So traditionally, this is the house where people say that's at the top of your chart, and this is where you will be recognized. This is where you will want to strive to become something of public recognition. But in my experience and what I think in astrology, 10th house is how I think we manage our careers. So if you have Neptune in 10th, someone here probably idealizes corporate structure, idealizes a career, traditional sense of the career. So perhaps maybe they love the idea of climbing up the ranks in a corporate environment, ranking, perhaps military, something where there's definite, distinct ranks and levels to, achievement and milestones and things like that. Perhaps they glamorize, climbing up, being high, these ranks and structures. They glamorize being, striving to the top of the career. They do definitely idolize and have higher importance in these themes. Being seen, not so much as seen as a leader, but someone who strives to the top. So Capricorn is normally seen as is characterized by the goat, and the goat naturally always wants to climb to the highest level of any mountain. So in this case, Neptune in 10th, this person might have illusions and excess importance in wanting to be someone of some public recognition, someone worthy of being spoken about. So they can probably help others in the traditional sense, maybe a career coach. They could be someone who helps others in their career, someone who just definitely something in those themes. I can't think of the top of my head, but anyone who can provide service and helping others in 10th house themes. So moving on to the next one, we go on to 11th. 11th house is all about friendships, humanity, hopes and desires. What are some of the other themes of the 11th house? It's also been seen to be almost like an elite type house. So I know this seems like very weird themes, but the majority of 11th house, when I think of 11th house, I think higher, not so much high learning, but higher hopes and ideals, friendships with a collective, humanity, things that impact a larger group of a collective, not just say you're a corporation, but let's say humanity, multiple corporations, a country, things that are a little bit more expansive, a collective, humanity as a whole. Someone who has Neptune in 11th probably idealizes, camaraderie and like working together for a common good. Maybe they have a little bit of illusions on, or higher ideals on, working for a non-for-profit, being part of a non-for-profit, things that can help society as a whole, things that can help in the future of society as a whole. So someone who has a strong 11th house, I would tell them to definitely look at how they can provide service in these themes. Perhaps join your Habitat for Humanity. Perhaps do something to help your local community, help your neighborhood, volunteer. But if in terms of your life purpose, definitely look into these themes. Maybe you can start your own company in these themes, start your own non-for-profit, look for how you can help in whatever themes in your chart, how you can help your local community or a large community at large. So again, you'd also look at your Pisces, where it is in your chart, and you'd also look at your 12th house. All right, finally, I know this video is getting a little long, but we're finally at the 12th house. Neptune in 12th is probably harder than Neptune in 8th to decipher. But Neptune in 12th to me would be someone who's looking for the ultimate purpose, the ultimate why. It's literally Neptune in its house, its home house. And so it's definitely a hard one to decipher. But I would definitely look at where Pisces is in the chart. I would also give you a little bit more, kind of a little bit more nuance to where their emphasis and importance is in this life. But definitely in the themes of the 12th house. So the 12th house, like I mentioned earlier, is all about spirituality. It's about the collective unconscious. It's about isolated places. So maybe they might work as in a hospital or institutions that are very isolated, faraway places. Perhaps they'll find a job overseas, providing service overseas. And in these themes, so perhaps maybe they'll be, a nurse, or provide service in isolated places, provide services in spirituality. Spirituality is a big theme of the 12th house. So if they have Neptune in 12, for sure, spirituality and wanting to improve people's well-being on a higher, more spiritual level will definitely be a big theme. Perhaps they can be a monk. I mean, it's a very spiritual, very introspective type placement. So yeah, this person probably has a high importance on maybe their spiritual routines. Maybe might have a very high importance on teaching spirituality, living spirituality, helping the collective. So someone like the Dalai Lama, actually, it's a perfect example. Someone like the Dalai Lama maybe have a Neptune in 12th, maybe Jupiter in 12th also. But this is kind of like the person who is on the highest enlightened place, looking to spread that enlightened knowledge to the masses, and values this to the 100th degree. So those are Neptune in the houses. I feel like I've just been talking, rambling for now almost 20 something minutes, but I think this is it's really a fascinating topic. If you are also interested in this as well, if this piqued your interest, if you followed with your astrology chart, click on the link below. I have my astrology coaching program available there. You can click on the link and then book a call if you want to know more about your chart. There we can go into details, the nitty-gritty about where Neptune is in your chart, where Pisces is in your chart, what the 12th house sign is. And we can, there are many other aspects as well in deciphering your purpose, but these, in my opinion, are very important and underrated, and no one's talking about it. So I thought I'd do a nice little video on this. So anyway, if you have any other questions, I love to read everything you have to say. Please put them in the comments below, and I will definitely do a video on answering any of your questions. But until the next video, I wish you well, and I hope you take care.